Namaste, everyone. Har Har Mahadev. Now, today we are here to discuss the last video of Venus through nakshatras. Venus in the nakshatra of Ardra, of Rudra itself, of Lord Shiva itself, and how it had to happen in the Savan only. Right? So let's get started. But before that, if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get regular updates. Also, for your personal readings, you can check out the link in the description box or www.anmolastrology.com. Under readings and unique reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. And please note that the prices of INR have been updated, they are changed. The prices in USD remains the same, right? So you can check that out as well. For signing up for online courses, you can check out the courses option. And trust me, I have framed courses in a way which is very understandable and provided full assistance and extra material for knowledge and practice as well. All right, so you can sign up for the online recorded videos and recorded courses under the same link, but under the courses section. Right? So let's get started with Venus in the nakshatra of Ardra. So I feel this video will actually go really, big or lengthy because we have a lot to talk about with Venus in Ardra Nakshatra. Before we talk about Ardra, you need to know what you're going to get into this video. So, Venus is going to represent your karma with love. It is going to represent your spouse. So, whatever we are going to talk about in this video and whatever we are going to learn in this video, that is going to be resonating with your experience in love, the way you look or you attract the energy in love, relationships, or your karma in relationships, and the traits of your spouse and the karma they are born with because your destiny is along with them, right? So, Venus naturally is the significator of your money, of your assets, your savings, and even your relationships, your partnerships, because it naturally rules the second house and the seventh house. Venus would also represent your relationship with your family because it naturally rules the sign of Taurus and the second house. So that's the house of your family. How you have your karma associated with them. That's what Venus would primarily tell us. And then it is actually the second house and the second lord's situation, right? Venus would represent your lifestyle, the way you spend, what do you accumulate or what do you like to accumulate? How do you have a lifestyle? How do you connect? How do you speak? What does your speech represents for? And what's your knowledge with finances? How do you look towards your finances? With the seventh house, what kind of partner do you attract? What is your karma in love and relationships? And what kind of partnership bonds do you expect and do you go in? And Venus is your interactions with females, with women. Even if you are a male, you are a female, your interaction with women in general is going to be represented with Venus. Now we have Venus into the zodiac sign of Gemini. It's the third house. So, first, we need to know that the environment that a zodiac sign creates, that is where Venus is sitting. And then, if we funnel down of how the karma is being projected, that is the nakshatra. So, when Venus is into the zodiac sign of Gemini, a person is very exploring when it comes to relationships. Any planet or any house where the zodiac sign of Gemini would fall, that is the house of your curiosity. That is the house you want to know everything about. Like for a Sagittarius individual, it is going to be the seventh house that they want to learn everything about. They want to find all the information about. Right? So, third house or the zodiac sign of Gemini is not just communication, but it is also about where do you seek all your knowledge and information from? Where do you feel most curious about? Like a person having Gemini in the 10th house, like for a Virgo individual, they are going to want to know everything about their career. They want to explore all the opportunities of career. Similarly, when Venus is in Gemini, a person tends to explore the side of sexuality, so explore the side of relationships. So Venus in Gemini, whether it's actually Mrigasara is the most lustful, but it's yet the most spiritual as well. And even in Ardra, even in Punarvasu, a person is experimentative in love. They are curious in love. They can go crazy in love. They love to be the explorer of relationship, of sexuality. This is like a teenage with Venus and Ardhara who wants to explore what sex is about, what intimacy is about, and how do we feel when we are in love, when we get the attention of the opposite sex. Right? But Ardhra has so much more energy and lessons to it. And trust me, this is the most transformative energy. This is the most intense energy. But if you have ever been loved by an individual with Venus in Ardhra or in Moon in Ardhra, you will never forget them. It's not like Venus and Rohini or Moon and Rohini. They leave a charm over you. But with Venus in Ardra or Moon in Ardra, they would leave a whole impact over you that you will never forget. The warmth, the homeliness, the connection, the infatuation that you get through an Ardra is that you'll never forget. But once you cross their favorite list and you come on that, because for them, it's either they love you or they're not talking to you, nothing in between. So if you cross that love dynamic, there you are once there, but you are taken out from there, it's no looking back. They would never look back at you. They would never forgive you. And that's the karma they're born with. Right? So we'll come to that. Let's not move ahead of time. So, Venus in Gemini, these people, for them, communication is the key of their relationships. Putting in efforts is the key of their relationships. These people value knowledge, they value information, they value communication, and they value efforts. But Venus into the zodiac sign of Gemini, it's being influenced with Mercury. You're a very, very skillful person, especially with Ardra. You are very good with technological understanding. I've seen so many people into IT with Ardra, Venus in Ardra, or Venus in Purva Ashad. So many people. You people are very, very skillful. Even your spouses are going to be very, very skillful. But with Ardhara, you always have interest into something which is unorthodox or which is with deep interest and deep research. That comes with Rahu. With Mercury's influence, you become very youthful, very flirtatious also, and very promiscuous also. Right? So, this is what I'm talking about, the very initial stage of your life where you're going to be promiscuous, you're going to be very talkative, you're going to be very exploring when it's about love. These people are very, very skillful and they genuinely have skills in their hands. They genuinely have arts established within themselves. Right? But Venus being in Gemini is like these are also old school people, especially onto the side of Ardra. You love classical things. You love classical music. You love that connects you to the nature, that connects you to the wilder side of yours. You love to be passionate, right? And this also shows because Venus is being influenced by the natural third house, you get assumptuous a lot when it comes to relationships and love. And that means you can be a very doubtful spouse, you can be a very doubtful partner as well. So, that is actually one factor or one trait within you that is going to transform your outlook of love. Because with Venus into the zodiac sign of Gemini, you always tend to put on questions. It's not that you are being very doubtful, but it is to some extent that you're doubting the person, but at the same time you're just curious to know everything. You just want to feel that you're a part of that other individual's life, right? So that is also there with Venus in Gemini. But Venus in the third house, these people also are very careful of health, nutrition, and they love to have a very sculpted body. They, in their life, whenever this Venus activates, they are going to take good care of their physique and they love looking good. And even they desire a very good looking spouse. But it's I won't say like Venus and Rohini, it is the most prominent thing they desire. No, it's just a part of what their desires might be. They might get fulfilled. They're not very rigid on that this must be there. It's not rigidity like the sign of Taurus. Rather, Geminis are more flexible, but once in their life, as they grow, they do establish a very strong understanding. And that is the time when they become rigid with their understanding, right? So now we are going to talk about the nakshatra of Ardra. This nakshatra is ruled by Rahu. So now we have Venus into the zodiac sign of Mercury and then into the nakshatra of Rahu. There comes a lot of overthinking, a lot of deep evaluation, and stress also. Somehow, love is going to be the most prominent part of your life. And it is going to be the most transforming part of your personality as well. See, Venus in Ardra is like that whatever, actually, it's whatever planet that comes into Ardra, you cannot ignore it, but you cannot even enjoy it to the fullest. Your happiness and your sorrows are going to come from there only. So if you have Venus in Ardra, that means your happiness comes when you are in a unionship, when you are being loved, when you are able to have a companionship. But at the same time, it's your relationships, it's your journey in love that transforms you, that make you look to the hard truth of life. You know, there's a lot of expectation that is attached to Venus when it is in Ardra. You expect a lot. You expect way more than what a normal expectation of love is. And when those expectations are questioned, they are not met, rather they are criticized. That's what changes you as a person. That's what changes you and makes you very fearsome in love. I have actually seen so many people in their late 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s with Venus and Ardra to be very, very formal. And when I was in the very beginning of my journey of astrology, I used to feel that Venus is in Ardra and it is in Gemini, then how come these people are so formal? And as you get to know them, you see them opening up. And that's what is their journey in life, that the way they go through. Every slightest thing their partner would say, every slightest feeling they have experienced in love, in relationship, in their encounter with the counterparts, they take that to their heart. And that's how they close off slowly. They create that boundary or that wall in front of them. Why you have Venus and Ardra in this life and why your karma is to actually go through intensities of love and relationships? Because in your past life, you have been part of the herds. You have been not being able to identify your identity. You were dependent upon, or you had way a lot of FOMO of not being the missing out, not being out of the crowd, not establishing your own individuality. You feared being alone in your past life with your relationships. That's why you overgive within your relationships so that you're not just left alone. And that's what Mrigasara represents. But in this life, because you are born with Ardra, mark my words, in your life, you are going to, relationships, your journey of relationships is actually going to make you be left alone at one point in your life. And that's when you establish your individuality. That's when you establish your choice of partner, your choice of love. And that's the reason why Venus and Ardra people can have the potential to get married late, at least after 29th year. Because another thing that you will see with these individuals is because of Rahu's prominence here, Rahu's rulership with Ardra, that you cannot tie down an Ardra person. You cannot tie down a person with Venus in Ardra in your relationships. You can tie them down emotionally. Their moon might be somewhere else, but you cannot set boundaries for them when it is a relationship. Nothing will go as per planned within a relationship. Like, for example, if you are married to a Venus and Ardra individual and you tell them that, okay, let's plan that Saturday, Sunday is always our date night. No, they have their own way of expression, their own way of planning. One day they are celebrating, another day they just don't want to interact with anyone. That's the kind of marriage they want. Trust me, they're not going to cheat you. This is not the deception of Rahu with Venus and Ardra. No deception of Rahu. This is the dedication, this is the love and loyalty that comes without restrictions, without boundaries. So, if you are getting married or you are married to a person with Venus and Ardra, you need to set them free. That's their love language. Although they might try to, always trying to ask you everything, always know your whereabouts. That's their, because there's a constant communication they need to create. But that doesn't mean that they are going to tie you down. They might have done that in their teens, in their early 20s with their partners. But once they understood, they have been through that transformation. These are the individuals who are like, you let me live, I'm going to let you live. But we are partners, we are team. I have seen such beautiful relationships with Venus and Ardra. I genuinely know of two people. Both of them are couples. They are couple. One of them, I think, they have Venus in Ardra. Yeah. And the wife also has, certain planets in Gemini and Cancer both. And what a relationship they share. Right? So with Rahu's influence, definitely the eccentricity comes in. The eccentricity comes in that there's always breaking of boundary, and even your relationship with your family will only get destroyed when your family will try to dominate you. And I've seen disturbed family dynamics when is in Ardra. Something in the family is disturbed or with the disturbed dynamics, and that basically creates a tussle with the family. So relationship with the family is actually not well. But if you have your child as Venus and Ardra, set them free. Do not control them. The more you'll control them, the more you are adding on to the negative side, right? So there's always they internally definitely are very, very homely. They want to create a family. They want to travel the whole world with their partner. They want to have the partnership of the lifetime, but they fear boundaries. They fear deception. They feel cheated on. And another one thing I would say is with Rahu's influence here, they never forget the past. They would never forgive you once you have betrayed them. Ardra and Mula, they never forget the past, and maximum number of times in their life, problems are due to their nature of bringing the past in the present conversation and not leaving it alone. So that's the reason if you want to live with them, you have to understand this fact. Otherwise, it's like you'll always be, troubling yourself with the fact that why they are bringing all the past things in the present, and they love to debate. They love to debate. So it's good. Actually, I have seen that Venus and Ardra, they deserve a very mature spouse. The spouse that understands their they're jumping around from sometimes being a mature soul and sometimes being totally immature, right? So, another thing, now let's come to the deity of this nakshatra, which is Rudra. So, this nakshatra's deity is Rudra, the Rudra avatar of Lord Shiva. The avatar he took to demolish the fifth head of the lust, the unchecked hunger and desire of Brahma, the Kapali, right? And one thing I have seen for these individuals, they have some great karma with Kal Bhairav. And I do tell everyone with Ardra Nakshatra, whether their ascendant is Ardra, their moon sign is Ardra, their Venus is Ardra, I tell them to preach Kal Bhairav, the intensity that they have on their inside, the anger that they have inside them, that just balances out, that just comes, that just finds a right direction when they become a devotee of Kal Bhairav. Okay? So with Deity as Rudra, Rudra is said to be a very, very fierce avatar of Lord Shiva. And that's what Ardra people are. You will see Ardra people to be all calm and composed. And this is something that is going to be more part of the traits of your spouse. That your spouse will always be calm, composed, bubbly, youthful, communicative, always trying to manage with the surroundings, becoming child with children, becoming old soul with older people. So very adjustative. But when someone betrays them, when it's like their saturation point hits, you are going to see a very, very fierce side of theirs, which will be all loud, aggressive, throwing things. And that is something I've actually seen in children, especially with the energy of Ardra. That's very uncontrollable with their anger, right? So with Rudra avatar, they don't forgive and forget. Venus and Ardra. And all this doesn't connect with your emotions. It doesn't connect with something else. It connects with your relationship. In relationship, whatever you have felt once, you'll never forget it. If someone has betrayed you once, they've made you feel fearful in love, they made you feel bounded in love, you're never going to forget that, and you're never going to forgive them. And that's the karma they are born with. That it's important for them to learn to forgive, let go, and move ahead. People with Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Sagittarius also, but not that much, but Venus in Gemini, they must not hold grudge when it's about love, relationships, or any in such encounter they have had, because they burn themselves from the inside due to this. All right. Now, next we have the symbol. The symbol is a teardrop and a skull. The skull actually represents the aghori side of these individuals. That these individuals have deep interest into death. What does death do to a person? What's the extreme side of something? They are very interested of those hidden aspects of life. They are interested into space, astrology, planets, all those things that connects you towards the diverse side of the universe. The teardrop represents their anger flowing through their eyes in the form of tears. I have seen people with Venus in Ardra to be crying out loud out of aggression in their relationships, in their encounter, or in their experience with their family as well. The teardrop is actually the signification of the storm that has the potential to just burst. So you see those lightning when the thunderstorm happens, that and the black clouds, that is what Ardra represents. And after that, we have the clear skies, cool breeze. That's what Swati represents. So, since Ardra represents all of these things, these people are bound to go through storms, burst outs, and emotional transformation, emotional turmoils, emotional, lessons through their relationships. That's why they have the most intense ending of relationships or breakups. And a person with Venus in Ardra, when they go through a breakup, when they experience breakup, they just they are like the they are like Shiva, who wandered without knowing anything, who just wandered naked into the jungles when he was separated with Mata Sati. That's the kind of nostalgia, that's the kind of emotion they go through when they are out of a relationship. But they find themselves after this breakup, after this transition, they find something about themselves that was deep hidden but just needed to come out. And one thing I would say, especially with a person with Venus in Ardra Pada 2, never take, you know, take favors from anyone. If you take any favors from someone, for which you have to give monetary compensation, but you refuse to give that. You take it as a you take it as a free, advice, you take it as a free service. Trust me, your relationships would at the same moment go bad. For your relationships to work, leave this habit of not paying for what you're getting. Because with especially Pada 2, it's evident there. And with Pada 1, these people can get a lot influenced by other people. Because in Pada 1, Venus will go into Sagittarius. In Pada 2, it will go into Capricorn. In Pada 1, you must not be influenced by what you see, influenced by other people's life, other people's luxury, other people's relationship. That is going to destroy your relationships. For a while, you might be able to get what you want, but it is troubling the foundation of your relationships. All right. Now, lastly, we have the animal, the female wolf or the female dog. The female energy or the female dog is very protective of her cubs. You've seen female dogs, the bitches, they are, even if, you are their owner, you are their companion, but if you trouble her cubs, she is going to lunge at you. She is going to be fierce and she's not going to see who you are. She's just going to attack you. So dogs are unpredictable. Dogs can give you the companionship. And if they felt danger, if they felt that you are not in their best interest, you're trying to hurt them, they can even bite you. They can even pull you apart. So that's the nature of Venus and Ardra. They give the greatest companionship that you would desire. That's the reason I said in the very beginning that it's hard to forget a Venus and Ardra individual because they crave for companionship, and they are here to establish companionship. It's very important for them. They are not meant for traditional marriages. The first and the foremost point, you are not meant for traditional marriages. You are meant for marriages which is uninfluenced by any external source. You just have your own way of living a married life. You have your own way of being a married partner. That's what this, this particular nakshatra is about. And Pushkara and Navamsha actually falls in the Pada 4, and that's called as a actually third and fourth, both the Padas. In the fourth Pada, Venus will go into Pisces, into its exaltation, and in the third Pada, it will go into Aquarius. So materialistically, these two padas are actually very good and very fortunate. All right. So with the female dog, these people are protective of their loved ones. They love to be part of teams. They love to actually, they are very good leaders, team leaders. They are very good IT persons. We'll come to the profession as well. They are very good at protecting. They are very good at evaluation. They are very good at scientific things. They are I think I've said it multiple times that they are very protective. They're very caring and they give you that companionship. And I have actually seen Venus and Ardra, they will follow you around. When they are in love with you, they will follow you around. Like, your dog, like I had my pet Casper. So he used to just follow me around, and especially my mother, whenever he wanted the food, whenever he wanted to go out, he got extremely excited and used to follow my father. So, they just love to follow around the people they love, and they love to be connected with them, you know, right? So that's the companionship side of this nakshatra. All right, now let's talk typically about the spouse, because that's, I think, what you are here for, right? So, first of all, the traits and the physical appearance of your spouse with Venus in Ardra Nakshatra. Although, please note that the seventh lord would actually represent the appearance more, but Venus also does represent the appearance of the partner. But one thing I would say is that you need to have a mix of both. You need to understand it that way. And it can be influenced with the seventh lord's placement as well. So, Venus in Ardra, your partner would have normal height, right? Because Geminis are mostly petite, or they're average heighted. Very less times you will see whenever there is influence of or Sun or Mercury or Saturn with the seventh lord, then the height can increase. But with Mars, Venus, all these planets, there's a normal average height. Then with Ardra, you will see for the females, they will have very plumpy, this, what do we call it? Plumpy palm and plumpy fingers, like a little chubby fingers, right? And with the males, they would have a heavy hand with long fingers and will have a habit of always keeping a gap within their fingers. So even if suppose they are taking something out, they'll do it like this. Okay? Other than this, with Ardra, your person will have their first four teeth, like the one which are visible, they can be as a bunny teeth, or they can be like a little bit deformed, or not in the like they can be very cute actually. Or they will have a prominent jawline. That means there is a sense of a little bit of plumpiness over the cheeks. All right. But especially with Rahu's influence, we in Punjabi we call it as beard ucha hona, right? So their teeth are actually like the bunny teeth. Okay. Then with Venus and Ardra, the features are always sharp, right? Sharp chin, sharp nose, and eyes can be actually very almond eyes, can be a little circular, a little what do we what do we say? Circular, but like sharper on the edges. And these individuals with Ardra Nakshatra, Venus and Ardra, your spouse can at a moment they can be totally well dressed, totally like they are just dressing up for the red carpet. Another time they're just totally coming out in their pajamas, in their knickers, right? So Ardhara people have sense of duality with their appearance also. And but they are very conscious of their image. They are, in the initial years of their life, they are going to be very conscious of their appearance, or how people are basically viewing them, right? Now, along with that, what else I can tell about the appearance? Yeah, I think for appearance, that was all, because, other factors would also manipulate the appearance here. So don't go like 100% with it, but just have an idea of it. Profession-wise, you can have a profession, you or your spouse can be from IT background, for anything that involves technology and technical research. You can even be, although Ardra is related to Rudra, who is a medicine man, right? So they can have some interest, or some people with Venus and Ardra can even be into medical testing, or not as medical practitioner, but more on the medical researcher side, right? But mostly I've seen ITNs, IT persons, or persons in marketing also, but only if they start up something of their own. But since it is a nakshatra ruled by Rahu, they at some point leave the 9 to 5 and do something of their own, or do something which is associated with commission, right? So career-wise, this was it. And then let's talk about the traits of your spouse. So your spouse is going to be a very fierce individual, a person who is brutally honest, up on the face, very debatable, loves to debate, loves to explore, and a person who is very, very moody, like very, very moody, because Ardra is associated with the weather. How weather can be very unpredictable. Sometimes it can be total thunderstorms. Sometimes it can be totally sunny. And sometimes it can be just mediocre. It can be like autumny like, or it can be spring. So that's the different moods of your partner, Venus and Ardra. Right. And definitely a person who does not do well with what society decides for them, always wants to be something exceptional, always wants to follow something exceptional and do something exceptional as well. Right. Now, the remedies. Remedies, one, I told you guys that you being devoted to Kal Bhairav is one of the remedies. Having a pet would be the very, very amazing remedy that a person with Venus and Ardra would have, because it calms their storm down. The companionship with a animal, with a pet, calms that down. And always have a travel to some wild place or some place which is close to the nature. Traveling becomes very important for your marriage, very important for you as well, right? Venus also represents your, and another remedy is pouring milk or water upon shivling on Mondays and Fridays, in fact, as well, right? That would also be a remedy. Now, Venus also represents the money part. With Venus in Ardra, I would suggest for you to invest your money or put your money more in digital form, because that is going to always increase. With Venus and Ardra, I've seen these individuals to always spend on the most comfort, on mostly on comforts, luxury, because it's influenced by Rahu. But at the same time, they can be very, very miser with money as well. So money always remains fluctuating for them. Sometimes they have to act in a budget. Sometimes they have to think a lot before before doing the expenditure or the expense. But sometimes they're just totally upon it. They're totally like putting their expenditure, like spending on the on 5 star or on the most luxurious bag. So that always becomes very fluctuating for them. And since the natural second lord goes into the third house, that means that's the reason I said that most of their savings will do very well if that's digitally there. Like you're investing into shares, you're investing into gold ETFs or digital gold. That is actually going to be very good. But definitely a person with Venus and Ardra, they make money through their own effort. They may or may not get inheritance from their family, but they are self-made people. They make their money themselves with their own efforts, with their own skills, and there is a potential that they make money through their own communications and communicative skills as well. All right. So, guys, this was my analysis about Venus in Ardra Nakshatra. I hope this has given you good insights into this topic. Do not just leave it here, because nakshatras are too deep and have so much to give us and so much understanding. Right? So, we'll see you next time. Till then, bye bye. Take care.